Greetings, everybody. So, it is 10 o'clock on a Sunday. It is a great day, but I think people are still waking up. So we're going to start off with a little introduction into who I am, what I do, what I've been working on lately. And then about 10 minutes in, we'll get a video started that is 40 minutes long, and it is a successful interaction with the police using sovereignty with the authority of the United States of the world. And what people don't realize about sovereignty is that it is 100% from everything that I can see, from all angles, all perspectives, it is the next step for mankind. And without sovereignty, we are going to open ourselves up to more and more chaos, more and more trouble, until we finally realize, oh, there's this sovereignty thing that I really need to integrate and focus on. So a little bit about me. My name is Isaac Andrew Mars. I am originally from the Detroit, Michigan area. I was a 68 Whiskey combat medic in an infantry unit for almost 7 years of my life in the U.S. Army. I had a deployment with a NATO deployment with the UN to Poland for a year. And as soon as I got back to the States and finally started growing out my hair, I realized that I had been tricked my whole life into believing in all these illusions, all these lies. And that happened on January of 2021. And it was a profound, what I would call scientific awakening. You know, I didn't have a spiritual awakening. I had the thing on the other side of the coin. And by learning the logic and the simplicity, once you integrate the paradoxes of reality of the universe, it's really a rather simple process, a simple system. So today is a really monumental day. A little bit ago in July, I was unlawfully kidnapped twice by the policy officers of the United States Corporation. And before I was kidnapped the first time, I had a positive interaction with 2 police officers when I was having a disagreement with some travel companions. And my companions were yelling at me. They were they were misinterpreting the situation, so they were projecting a lot and getting really angry. And I tend to do that when I'm just being myself. I tend to be a trigger for people. Sometimes we don't like looking in the mirror. And as they were leaving, some police officers pulled up and checked on us. And the police officers seemed to get really nervous, and they didn't even really approach me. And standing way back away from me, they asked me, "Hey, are you sovereign?" They must have ran my plate. And they saw that I was on the do not detain list. And I said, "Yeah, I'm sovereign. What do you want to know?" He's like, "Well, you know, we're kind of confused about this stuff. We don't really know a lot about it. Can you tell us more?" I'm like, "Sure, can you turn off your body cams?" And they did, which means that the police are waking up, that the good guys in these governmental systems are finally realizing, hey, there's something going on here. Something's off. I shouldn't be able to do this thing that I'm allowed to do. You know, my sergeant shouldn't be able to get away with that thing. And they're starting to see that, you know, even when they think that they might be in the hero seat, that they're realizing that they've been the villain, that they've been the bad guy, the bully. And so what I want to do with today's talk to begin this whole show, I'd like for us all to close our eyes and get very centered within our consciousness, our body, our spirit, our heart. And I would like to set the intention to share the crystallization of this energy, this consciousness of the sovereignty of the I am that we all are, sharing it out to the entire world. As you breathe deeply in your own cadence and rhythm, feeling the people around you, feeling the other selves, the other versions of you in the room, really dig deep into your consciousness and feel what it would feel like to be free. Feel what it would feel like to watch the children running around, playing, laughing. No trouble, no danger, no fear. What it would be like to do whatever you want, even if it's standing up on a table in a a big city somewhere and dancing in front of a bunch of people. To be so free that there's nothing that anybody can do to tell you, no, you can't do that. As long as you aren't hurting somebody else, as long as you aren't imposing your will on somebody else, what would that world feel like? And as you take one final deep breath in, feeling that, inhaling that sovereignty, breathe it out to the world, share it with the children, those that are free right now so they can continue to be free, and those that are not free, the ones that we're here to save, not by becoming heroes physically necessarily, but by becoming the hero in our own reality, in our own consciousness, by loving our inner child, our inner man, our inner woman, and integrating all three of those Trinity energies. Thank you, thank you, thank you to God, Goddess, Source, Universe, for all of this beautiful energy that we're sharing with the world. And so it is. And so it is. So we are making history right now, because never before has there been such clear footage indicating how backwards our reality is. We've never had somebody that was able to walk the walk of sovereignty, even in an intense situation, and get it on camera so that we can provide examples to the rest of the world about, like, this is truly not okay. I mean, these officers in these situations, they're claiming that they can arrest people, that they have this authority, but when you ask them, where's your authority? Show me. Show me the writing, and I'll go. I'll comply. And they literally won't do it. Why? Because they can't do it. We are past that point in this reality. We are past the point in which we have to subject ourselves to our enslavers. And before we begin this video, I just want to share a little experience. It's not so little. The third experience I had before this fourth one, in which I had a successful sovereignty interaction, but it was a very, very strange situation. And I'm not even going to lie. I know that most people in this world would think I'm an absolute crazy person for what I decided to do. But so the first time I was unlawfully kidnapped in July of this year was in Anaheim, California. And like I said, it was directly after I had that interaction with the two police officers asking about sovereignty, who turned their body cams off. And what happened is, in the interaction with my soul family that decided they didn't want to travel with me anymore, I became charged with the perfect spiritual energy to lead me into a destined situation, I would say, a fixed point in the timelines. And what the situation was, I haven't been able to verify it yet, and my life has been so unbelievable that, I'm holding space for any opportunity, any possibility. But what I was shown, what was the incentive for going to this location in Anaheim, California, was one of my soulmates had been taken into sex trafficking. I had no 3D awareness that this happened to her. I had no way of knowing that she was hurt in this physical reality. And yet, for some reason, after this destined interaction with my brother and my sister, who left me that day, I was charged with all this energy, and I just started driving. And it was like my body was a machine that was moving on its own. It was taking me exactly where I needed to go, just following pure intuition. Okay, here's a synchronicity, I gotta go here. Oh, here's another synchronicity, I gotta turn left. And I just full committed, complete trust, complete faith. And I was shown synchronicities of a black box. And then I got to this apartment complex, and I looked to the left, and right on the front of the courtyard, it's kind of like a U shape on each side of the courtyard. So there's building here and a building here, shaped kind of like a U facing each other, or a C maybe. And in the courtyard, they had a big black gate, and I just thought slaves, prisoners. And so I parked my car next to the apartment building, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, this is freaking crazy. What am I doing here? I don't feel like I need to be here, but my body just took me here. And I looked to the left, and my guides have me read down the left side of this parking rule sign, regulation sign. And down the left side, all the words, in a straight line down the side, says, use will without consent. And I'm like, what? Use will without consent? Just force my way in here and be some sort of hero? What is this? And I was like, all right, you know what? I've been in crazy situations before. I know that if I trust, something interesting is going to happen, so I'm going to trust. And I walked into the courtyard and I just started asking around. I said, have you seen this young woman? She's about this tall, this skin color, eye color. And immediately I knew I was in the correct place because I started getting all the locals. They're saying, oh, get out of here. We're going to call the police. There's no lady like that here. And I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna keep looking around. And before I know it, a 14-year-old girl walks past me, in front of me, kind of diagonally. And without looking at me, under her breath, she goes, she's upstairs. And I look upstairs, and the only thing on any of the doors is a Merry Christmas sign. And I consider myself to be on the path of heart consciousness, Christ consciousness. So I'm like, that's where I need to go. And I go up to the door, and I knock on the door. I knock and I knock, nobody answers. And I'm like, all right, use will without consent. And I open the door and I start walking into the apartment. As soon as I start walking into the apartment, the man starts coming at me and he says, what are you doing? Get out of here. Are you crazy? And he starts coming at me, and I'm like, I'm not here to hurt anybody. I'm here for this woman. She doesn't need to be in this situation anymore. This is completely horrible and dark. And him and his two sons, probably 14 or 15 years old, they start pushing me down the stairs. And I back up and keep telling them, I'm not here to hurt anybody. I'm here to help everyone, even you. I don't think that you are irredeemable. I know that you're going through darkness. I know that people did dark things to you, and that's why you do dark things to other people. I'm here to help all of you. And he'd say, there's no woman here. I'd say, sir, I'm an empath. I can tell when you're lying. He'd turn his head. He'd be like, what the heck? And for some reason, I just started talking to the 14 and 15-year-old sons, and I looked at them and I said, boys, I know when the time comes, I can count on you to do the right thing. And as I was talking to them, I was telling them, you don't have to be a part of this darkness anymore. Tears were welling up in their eyes. They were really, really doing their best job to not let those tears come out, but you could see it was like a little droplet of water just sitting there on each eye. And I told them, well, I've told you my intentions, and there's still a woman in there. So you know what I got to do. You do what you got to do. If you decide you're going to hurt me, go ahead, but I'm not going to hurt you back. And so I just started walking towards the apartment again. And they started pulling me back, trying to throw me to the ground. They finally got me to the ground, and I was breathing heavy, so I calmed my breathing and regained myself. And before I knew it, I was pushing the three of them off of me and getting back up and going up to the staircase, and I almost got to the railing, and that's when the police arrived. And for one unarmed man with completely peaceful intent and no helpers, no assistants, no collaborators, they sent a half a dozen police vehicles this time and 2 police helicopters. And when the police arrived, 4 of the officers came up and talked to me, and 3 out of 4 of them seemed like regular officers that you would run into in any normal situation on the road. And then the 4th officer, let's just say he had very reptilian qualities. And when I told them, I'm a sovereign living man, I'm with the Unity States of the world, I'm not within your jurisdiction, I'm on the do not detain list, this 4th officer, he says, yeah, well, I'm sovereign too. Right there. He told me everything. He told me that he is an agent of darkness, that he knows exactly how the whole system works, and the only way that he can contract with me is if he's sovereign as well on a level playing field. Therefore, we can play ball. But as long as I don't say that I consent to anything, as long as I don't physically act to consent to anything he does, he can't do anything. It is literally, being tempted by Satan. That is what it's like. And as long as you can walk the walk encouraged and not say anything, it's not about having to say a bunch of stuff that you need to memorize. It's about not saying things that can hurt you. And as long as you have the sovereignty, it's backed by the United States of the world, which is UN recognized nation, and you're in courage, even if things are going sideways, even if you're getting abused by these policy officers, you're going to make it out. You're going to get through it because we all have karma. So for all of the men, women, and children that have been, trafficked, taken, and enslaved, we all have a little bit of slavery karma to work through. So those of us that are tapping into our sovereignty and walking the walk, we're going to be dealing, we're going to get hit. We're going to get crushed, And what happened next is they couldn't get me to contract. So basically out of just pure rage, this officer throws me to the ground, starts putting handcuffs on me as tight as possible. I mean, I still got scarring, healing from it. And they go to force me into the police vehicle, and I'm walking the walk. There's a bunch of kids with their phones recording me. I mean, this video is out there somewhere. And as the officer that's sovereign goes to force me into the police vehicle, I am not complying. And I'm, at this point, I would say I'm literally resisting. And my head is against the door frame, and he puts his neck right here. And he starts to force my head into the door, and all of a sudden I hear a pop. And I go from no pain to 11 out of 10 pain, worst pain I've ever felt in my life. And it was like a knife, like a hot knife was stuck in my neck, and then they threw me into the cop car, hanging on whatever muscle I had pulled. And I was shrieking like a woman in childbirth. And they didn't do anything medically. They didn't check my C-spine. I was a medic in the Army. They didn't do anything that they were supposed to do. By the time we got to the jail, they opened up the door and they threw me on the ground, and 5 officers with all of their body weight on one of their knees crushed me under their body weight as another officer started grabbing my hands to inject or take something from my index finger. And as I tried to move my index finger away from them, they all started going, no, no, no. And so I had to let it happen. It was part of my path. And, they roughed me up, threw me against the wall, pushed me into the wall, and took me to a freezing cell with no bed, blanket, or running water. And considering I had no idea what was going on, and I was really, really in the lion's den, I thought, I don't know when I'm going to get good water again. So I even turned to urine therapy, monotherapy to recycle, to stay hydrated. And I was just sobbing out all of the karmic energy that I had taken from that apartment complex. I was led there for a reason. So what I've been shown, what my guides have revealed to me, is that there really was a sex trafficking ring going on right there. I mean, it's next to Disneyland, one of the worst trafficking places on the planet. And so what I was told is that in that experience, I actively took on the karma of these victims. And so I had to experience that karma to transform it. And what happened next is that this lady came up to the door, and I could feel her energy was completely different. And she says, Isaac, my name is Grace. And right when she said her name, I'm like, Grace, okay, grace of God, I got this. And she asked me what was going on. I told her the full story, and I let her know I'm sovereign, I'm a specialist on this. I speak to people I have been for the past 2 years. And she's like, okay, I'll check out your website. She comes back 5 minutes later and she says, Isaac, I know another high vibrational being when I see one. This was destiny. We were meant to meet. And I have a feeling we'll see each other again when you get out of here. Now, will you please fill out this paperwork so I can get you where you need to go? And when she said those words, I knew that I was meant to go to whatever facility she was trying to help me get to. She was behavioral health. And that was my second experience of being in the psych ward. So I signed myself into this place called Del Amo. And when I fully commit to my intuition and my guidance, the most magical things happen. So Del Amo means Del, and then Amo means love. Or Del Amo together means truthful, hard worker, and joyful, I think, which is me. And when I was on the way there, all these synchronicities were happening. For example, the EMT that took me there, his name was Eris. Do you know who Eris is in mythology?
The god of war.
Eris is the counterpart to the god of war, which is Mars. What are the chances of that? What are the chances that all the dispensers in the bathrooms that I was using were Ascend, Transcend, Kingsway Group? All of these things, they were showing me that I was exactly where I needed to be. And when I got into the psych ward, which was not there to help anybody, it was just a prison with extra steps. I just kept being myself. I kept revealing to the people in there. I kept calling out the therapists and the social workers. I was like, you come in here and you take a piece of paper with our names on it and you ask us how we feel. And when we say whatever the heck comes out of our mouth, you hit a checkbox and then you move on. You don't even drop in. You don't even look at the person. And I just kept calling them out. This isn't healing. This is a joke. And a lot of them were getting triggered. I mean, I had social workers being immature enough to call me names because they felt that small, but they didn't realize what they were doing. So, for sake of brevity, in that experience, I met people that I know are going to be leaders in the coming times. I met another genius that was so smart that he was finishing how reality worked before I could finish explaining my theory to him. I'm like, okay, so this is why I'm here. And then after about 6.5 days, I found, backtracking a little bit, another interesting experience, Braddles, and I shared my story about the fear parasites that I call the vril. Well, while I was in this situation, Brad, it was really interesting because I was asked if I wanted any sleeping meds. And I was like, you know what, I could sleep good tonight, and that's the one medication that I'd probably be cool with taking. What do you have? Do you have Benadryl? They said, no, we don't have Benadryl. We have the adult version. It's Vistaril. And I'm like, whoa, patterns within patterns. Vista means a sight, a vision. And vril is also in that word. I can see the anagram. And so I took the Vistaril, and these vril parasites are these alleged, black, greenish AI worms that are allegedly housed in the left eye. And that night, I had a dream that I was in my old high school house, and I was walking to my living room, and there was a woman sitting on my old couch, and I kind of interpreted that this woman was my internal feminine, which is where we would have our fear. That's where fear manipulates us. And I bend down and I look into her eyes, and in her left eye, there's this little thing sticking out of the corner of it. And I grab it and I start to pull it out, and it's this long, black, slimy worm with lime green speckles. And I'm like, oh my God. And I throw it on the ground. And what that said to me is, this is the time in which we are overcoming fear. We are breaking our governors, our limiters, to the point where once we get past what I have been shown is called transcension, not ascension. Transcension is the instance in which a human being breaks their fear limiter to the point where they can't even be in fear anymore. It's just a thing of the past. And that's how close we are. And I've also been shown that we will have bodily transformations, hair color changes, eye color changes, facial features shifting. I've already been told recently that my face looks completely different. So these are the crazy things that have been going on in my life. And the kicker to that whole story is when I got to Mount Shasta, I met this amazing woman, and she is a fantastic channeler. And the thing about the soulmate of mine is that her color is also red. And she loves shiny things. And she grew up in the matrix, in the darkness, and the trauma. She took on a lot of the karma for all of us, and I honor her and respect her deeply for that. But this other woman, when she started channeling to me out of nowhere, in her channeling, she starts to say, and then there's her. She's shiny, scarlet red. You have liberated her karmic space, Isaac. And she wants you to know that. And I just started sobbing and laughing. I'm like, this is... How magical is that? It's unbelievable. It's like a real movie. And I still haven't seen her in the physical, but I have faith that I will. And without further ado, I'd like to start the video that came through my fourth successful interaction with the policy officers of the corporate world. And buckle in, because this is going to be really profound. And just so you're aware, this is a preview. There's going to be actually, I don't need it. There's going to be a full video released within the next week or two. So pay attention to that, and I really appreciate if anybody can share the video. It's going to completely change everything. Here we go.
Is a multi-dimensional video disclosing various paradigm-shifting truths previously hidden from the public. Each section of the video has been meticulously designed to give you, the viewer, the greatest growth of knowledge possible. The principles of Unity Theory are currently scheduled for upcoming release through a short infographic titled Unity Theory 1.11. Reading and sharing this information helps to energetically end all types of slavery and directly supports liberating the young men, women, and children from sex trafficking globally. I deeply appreciate your support, energy, money, and time, and free will. Thank you all for being here, for choosing your path. I believe in all of you. Disclaimer. As an ex-infantry army medic of close to 7 years, many of these revelations have deeply affected me. Therefore, these facts and examples are particularly aligning to those of us that are serving or have served in governmental systems such as the military or law enforcement. Be aware, this video reveals hidden truths known to trigger anger and other emotions and has multiple real-life examples. Please protect.
Well, here's my live plan, verified by county coroner. And that doesn't work here in California or Mount Shasta. I need to see your driver's license. That's the thing that it does. It doesn't. I will come out and talk if you put the weapons away.
This was in Chicago when I had that experience. I was able to have all the officers lower their weapons and step back by telling them to listen to me.
I'm relocating. I'm trying to.
There's about 22, 25 officers all around me in this situation with AR-15s and pistols drawn, including some.
Hello, so I'm an American national. I do not consent to any written or verbal contracts. As you admitted to be.
This is me calling out the judge over the preliminary hearing
false conveyance of
of the situation, the previous
You are the
hearing.
claimant in this situation, and so is Brian L. Burke. So you are going to move forward under penalty of perjury at the individual level, Jennifer Brown.
I am going to move forward with this case as a judge in the state of Utah.
Hey, you will be held personally responsible.
So since I did not consent, he thought the most appropriate thing was to force his way into my vehicle.
You don't understand.
In that situation, they actually put on the alleged charge they were trying to charge me with. They said that I was assaulting a peace officer in the situation. I mean, they were just lying left and right.
I am being a peaceful being. Please look at this. You have no jurisdiction.
Greetings, people of Earth. For thousands of years, the negative thoughts, emotions, and beliefs of mankind have shaped this tumultuous reality we find ourselves in now. As Einstein stated, the world as we have created it is a product of our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking. This means that the main problem troubling our human family It is our unwillingness to reimagine the way we think and feel about the reality we experience in this cosmic play of life. Over multiple millennia, our perception of reality has become so distorted by the psychological indoctrination institutionally woven into our modern society that we have mentally, emotionally, and spiritually inverted ourselves into living in the lie responsible for all of our suffering worldwide, the illusion of separation. In accepting this illusion, our species has opted to live backwards collectively. This illusion is responsible for every war we have ever fought. It is responsible for the pain we experience in our relationships. It is the catalyst for every murder, rape, assault, and any other act of abuse. It is the source of all greed, manipulation, and corruption. And it is the very reason millions of our young men, women, and children are annually stolen from their lives and sold into sex slavery. My name is Isaac Henry Mars, and I am here to shatter this insidious illusion across the world. And the key we all need to deliver our people from this dystopian nightmare is perception itself. Everything in our experience hinges on our perception. Perception alone is what crafts the stories of our lives. It creates living, nightmarish hells, and it creates the most heavenly of paradises. Whether we experience the former or the latter is determined by our consciousness, our awareness. Unconsciousness, or rather, living in codependence, detachment, ignorance, and fear, elicits a low vibrational experience of reality filled with suffering and mental slavery, regardless of the legal question. The path of greater consciousness, however, leads us toward interdependence, non-attachment, increased awareness, and unconditional love. Embodying these principles brings us into heart-mind coherence and back to integrating the heart-mind true community, a life experience akin to being an heaven on earth, as foretold in ancient prophecy. As a theoretical physicist of unity holodynamics, the cutting-edge science of the modern age, I am here to inarguably prove the true community to the world through the disclosure of the scientific theory of everything mainstream science has been openly awaiting since the days of my predecessor, Albert Einstein. By utilizing symmetrical geometric logic, the principles of unity theory are as irrefutable as 3 plus 6 equals 9. Because of this crystallized truth, not a single mainstream scientist will touch my work with his own. For example, if the materialist reductionists entered a scientific debate with me, they would be openly committing career suicide in the public eye. This is due to the fact that unity theory disqualifies failed theories such as materialist reductionism and quantum theory. On the flip side, I have been brought on board a global team of cutting-edge scientists that actually celebrate the discoveries of my work in this trajectory. Furthermore, since the awakening of this scientific knowledge within me, without violating any legitimate laws, I have been directly interrogated by the FBI regarding my scientific theory, surrounded and threatened by SWAT and police with weapons drawn and safeties off, poisoned and hostile jail during an assassination attempt after traveling to Tesla with Elon Musk, and I have even been unlawfully kidnapped and imprisoned by the policy officers of the United States Corporation on 5 separate occasions. The cruel and unusual punishments I have received from the mentally governing systems of our dystopian society continually reveal to me that the science I am disclosing is real, true, and monumentally beneficial to mankind. Why else would people in illusionary positions of power be so terrified of me and my work? With every act of malice toward me, these people only help to reveal the truth about our hidden power, our freedom, and our sovereignty through the unbelievable yet verified real-life examples I can then share with the world regarding our disheartening farce of the fictional justice system. Their fear and their powerlessness indicate that we have fully stepped into the astrological age of Aquarius, the prophesied cycle of evolution in which mankind leaves limitation and fear behind for a new reality of limitlessness, unconditional love, and unity in heart consciousness. After my scientific awakening in January 2021, with newfound multidimensional awareness, it became clear to me that all prophecies are merely different perspectives of the same story, the human story, or rather, the super-human story. To those just now awakening to the truth of reality, that science and spirituality are two sides of the same coin, please know that our backward society has psychologically programmed our minds to reject any information that leads to liberation from mental enslavement. In the words of Mark Twain, it is easier to fool people than it is them to get them. As you integrate from my work what resonates with you and disregard what does not, please know that we cannot fill our cup with greater knowledge if it is fully served by the facts we know. So please, keep an open mind. In phenomenon, one inarguable fact that dissolves all limitation and promises. This fact explained for thousands of years in the Egyptian Hermetic law of mentalism may seem unbelievable at first, but the science makes everything crystal clear. The universe is a mental construct that exists only within our mind. Since I am in your minds and all of you are in my mind, this means we all share a single universal mind. This is the revelation of the oneness that exists within all of existence. And in my book, this oneness is known as the universal natural intelligence. This intelligence unifies all things by being all that it creates. As we remember the truth of our cosmic origin and enter the age of Aquarius together, know that I am here to be a living example of heart consciousness. I am here to gather the rainbow warriors of the holy prophecy, and I am here to establish heaven on earth by liberating the people of this world from slavery of every kind. No matter what I face, no matter who tries to stop me, for the people of this planet, for my people, I will never give up. Thank you.
That was an introduction to the video. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, everybody. So we're going live on Instagram.
So this is the day.
Isaac-Andrew Mars period. That is my quantum syntax legal name, verifying that I'm a sovereign living man. Here is, what's your full quantum syntax name,
That's one of my brothers from Mount Shasta, excellent numerologists and reflexologists if you get to meet him.
We are not creating any sort of commerce under any sort of maritime law system, and we are living as free, sovereign living beings. And right now, the Parks and Recreation just called the police on us to try and get us kicked out of this land right here.
That is the headwaters of Mount Shasta City Park. It's where the Sacramento River begins.
And since this is what's happening today, we get to show all of you on Instagram what it's like to walk in close sovereignty in real time. So I have a picture of my life claim that I'm going to...
That's a live life claim, and later today, my partner Keegan and I are probably going to be taking a large group through the process, completely free of charge. We only take blood donation for this specific item. And the whole point of me being on Instagram Live is because Instagram Live saves the video as you're making it, and you also can get an audience. The more people you can involve in the situation, bring awareness to what's going on, the more protection you'll have. They're trying to get me kicked out because they're claiming that I am selling services without a permit, and I was only doing free tarot readings. I wasn't making any commerce, and then they claim that I'm trespassing. But you can't trespass in public lands. And in truth, you can't trespass anywhere. I wasn't charged for trespass in the previous interaction in Anaheim because everybody owns the planet. Nobody can own one thing. So that's why I'm still learning the details about land in regard to sovereignty, but I'm focusing on the individual part.
We are sovereign living men. The whole system of government has to do with convincing the world.
All individuals that do not provide proof of life are considered dead and or lost at sea under maritime law, which means that your all caps name is a dead corporation you are contracting with for submitting your life force energy to power the matrix of suffering.
They're only going to try to intimidate if they go down that route and use fear. And I've been through this multiple times. I'm on the do not detain list. I just talked to 2 officers that they stopped and they
And educating the people around you is also important as well.
They like, can we learn more about it? And turn it out there. Oh, really?
So these people have been aware of it and want to learn more. And what this gentleman says here in a moment is that they don't feel safe in front of the police. And I thought that was such a beautiful interaction to catch on this footage because the police need to know that. You know, they're supposed to protect and serve.
Right here on the passports, if you don't mind holding that. So on
This is a fun thing you could show anybody on the front page of the passport.
says right in the first paragraph, it says, "The Secretary of State of the United States of America hereby requests all whom it may concern to permit the citizen/national," which means either the corporation or the living man or woman of the United States named herein, to pass without delay or hindrance, and in case of need, to give all lawful aid and protection. So
that basically says, hey, if I show you this, you're supposed to protect me, not harm me. So if they go to harm you, then they're really showing their true intentions.
They can't do it. They won't be able to do it. So I'll show them my passport, and I'll show them that paragraph, and I'll explain, okay, if you can't provide proof of jurisdiction, and this says you're supposed to give us a free pass, we need any aid. Well, I need aid right now because there's somebody antagonizing me with AU, and I feel like I'm very uncomfortable in the situation, especially since you're carrying a weapon. So they're trying to keep me out of the space, and I'm just being myself. Okay, well, okay. Yeah. So, well, this is all about bringing the power back to the people, so we can say it. I hear you. I respect you and honor you, so thank you so much, and we'll be in contact. Yeah. So everybody watching, here's my sign. It says the Crimson Eagle free tarot readings, and then separately it says spontaneous love donations accepted. So Darius, yes. So we did right now.
Interestingly enough, Darius is a very excellent man, and he thought to record when the Parks and Rec guy that ended up calling the police on me was talking to him. And what that man, who has white hair, you'll see him later on in the video, said is they were targeting me. They're saying that I was an asshole, quote unquote. But the other guys, oh, you guys can come after 5, and on the weekends, nobody will kick you out. It's like, oh, interesting. So you pick and choose.
Keeping full record of this encounter. We're all on the same team. We're all on the same side. We're just trying to figure out some issues in communication.
They're going to Barney fight.
So my name is Sovereign Living Man, Fulton Isaac Andrew Fulton Mars, period. The chief of police has a specific notice talking about.
I sent this notice to their chief of police last summer in preparation for the summer.
Here we're doing free services on free land that is, for the people. And we have an audience here watching as all this is unfolding. And his land is governed.
This is Stephen Goldsberry speaking.
I hear that. And they have the right to tell you that you can't be here. And that's what they're saying now. They've asked you to leave, you're refusing. So they're trespassing you with them.
Can you please?
And yes, I have a lie meter.
Provide me proof of evidence of jurisdiction. Under the law, you actually do. Will you please provide your name and your badge number?
Goldberg, S.
What's your first name?
S. Goldberg.
That's not your first name.
Badge number is 1102.
1102. My full name is Fulton Isaac Andrew Fulton Mars. My passport is right here.
Always make sure you say full stop.
And I quote, "The Secretary of State of the United States of America hereby requests all whom
They love when you do this. They really enjoy it.
which means every man of the United States named herein to pass without delay or hindrance in case of need to give all lawful aid and protection." So since that says lawful aid and protection, here you go. That's my passport. And that is verifying me as a sovereign living man. And officer, can you please provide your name and badge number? I need to know that I'm safe here.
Did you ask me for protection?
What's your?
I didn't. That's something I could probably do next time.
Thank you. And all I'm saying is this is just a little misunderstanding. And if we can get the proof of jurisdiction from my mouth, I'm telling you, that's not how maritime law.
All global systems of mental governance fall under maritime law. Our bodies are vessels in the sea of space.
A driver's license.
I don't need to give a driver's license because I am not a commercial driver.
U.S. Supreme Court and other high court citations proving that no license is necessary for normal use of automobile in common ways. Thompson versus Smith. The right of the citizen to drive on a public street with freedom from police interference is a fundamental constitutional right.
Because they have
And other examples.
charge me with anything.
And if you want, I can provide proof of that. And I can provide, we're in this together, everybody. Everybody can keep praying. Thank you for watching and being a part of this.
These situations take a lot of patience, a lot of just deep breathing.
That says that you have the authority to kick us out. We don't want any trouble.
You can go on for hours sometimes.
So just tell me.
Just sit there and relax.
No?
I mean, they're an important person. They don't know anything about it.
Yeah, so we are sovereign living men under the authority of the United States of the world, and thank you so much. Thank you, sister.
Goddess energy coming in, sharing the love. Gotta receive that for sure.
We're in this together. Let's keep smiling, bro. Smile for the camera. This is what sovereignty looks like, people. It's going to take us working together,
Gotta have fun with
coming
it.
together as an audience, coming together as a group, a collective, sharing the awareness, sharing what's going on with the world so we can walk in our power. Because we're done being told what to do by a corrupt system of mental governance.
You should have had run the numbers on this situation.
Oh, I probably will. He's seriously amazing. He's got every street on Shasta.
See that?
This
Yeah.
way, I wouldn't have been guided to do terror ratings if this wasn't supposed to happen.
When was this, Isaac? Can you tell us what it was?
This was July 27th.
Long time?
They were there just because you had a table set up.
Yep.
You're the officers,
Sitting on that.
they gave their name.
Yep. And there's other people doing that all the time, whenever they want.
Right now about jurisdiction.
I was clearly targeted in this
Not
situation.
using to take care of my stuff. Yeah.
Did you promote it before you went out?
No.
Oh, no. Yeah, I'll definitely
I
target.
think that people do that all the time, every single day.
I was literally just low on money. I was at the bottom of my bank account. And I was like, I need to get some more food, so I'll go out there. And I've never done that before. And then this happens. I'm like, okay, all destined, all guided.
You're not allowed to eat, are you?
Yeah. Ignorance is not protection from factual law in any capacity.
I have my life license. I live wherever I'm at. So here's my life license. I have California laws. Actually, the second I go into a courthouse, all California laws go out the window because all courthouses have foreign vessels and dry dock. It's not about I'm not trying to.
All courtrooms worldwide are foreign vessels in dry dock. When you walk into that courthouse, you've left your country or you're standing under contract. That was an article by Last Flag Standing.
So I'm the only one who follows this. I'm the only one. So this is my, I'm trying to have a prepared conversation. Can we please be on the same side? Can we please be on the same side?
Apparently, I'm not that important to
Say
him.
I'm and I don't consent to any contracts. I don't consent to any verbal or written contracts. And all I'm asking, sir, is just prove this paper evidence that's verifying that this is legitimate.
Well, I can tell you something. I'm quoting maritime law.
Yes.
I've dealt with maritime law for over 40 years.
Okay.
Look at those, Department of Transportation. Maritime law holds no precedent in the situation we're right now.
Every single part of the court system is under maritime law. All court systems, everybody, in every part of the United States.
Something that's opposed to investment. It's not investment.
I am a vessel. I'm swimming through the sea of space. And this planet itself is a vessel. This is all verified by the Miller.
For researching more, type David Wynn Miller's work on sovereignty or David Wynn Miller seminars for the best results on YouTube. You'll find a lot of misinformation saying he's a crazy guy, he's just a
May I?
this or that, but
Universe, do the cards.
most of what I've learned has been through his work.
I've done this here before the universe has spoken to you. Okay. Okay, let's do that.
Here, I could feel a little resistance. I was like, I really don't want to deal with the police. These are tarot cards. I'm asking the universe if I'm meant to be in this situation.
Whenever I'm walking this walk, it's never easy. It's never fun.
This video, David, is specifically to show people an example of how to walk in sovereignty and do everything as yeah, it's almost done.
So I'm being guided to walk the walk.
The sun and the devil. Those are two polar opposite cards. What are the chances the polar opposites fall out back to back?
The power to my brother here to make decisions for me as I am wrongfully transgressed against, and he will be recording this whole situation, so he's going to be recording this whole thing. While I'm going through this, he's going to take my tarot cards, he's going to take my belongings, so much stuff on there.
Are you backing up and up too, or are you kind of doing the same thing and checking tarot cards?
I'm gonna take the lightest one.
Why just purpose?
Never confront these policy officers unless you are confident and prepared. That's a quick way to end up in jail for a lot longer than you expect.
Just start doing your stuff.
I still have a permit,
If it's not moved by the time my guys get here, you're gonna go to jail too.
Another main reason why I'm showing all the little footage that isn't fully important is I want to reveal to the world that this is all that happened. This is the truth. You know, this is the whole situation. So what I do here is I send a few texts and I let people know what's going on, so I have some protection and some support when I get out of the situation. Creating contingency plans.
And doing nothing. I'm not violating any laws, so I'm going to be going through it again. So hold space, pray for me. Thank you very much. I love you. Talk to you. Bye. So everybody, I may be getting wrongfully arrested for the second time in the same month. So this is a very interesting month for me, and I have a feeling that I'm going to be doing this a lot more and more as time goes on. Because it's only by standing in our sovereignty that we'll be able to wake up the world and show them that they're living in a system built on lies that's standing on quicksand. So all these officers that don't realize what they're actually creating a huge karmic debt. And as that karmic debt is built, as that karmic debt is built, they are asking for really dark things to happen in their experience. Every time they go against unconditional love, every time they go against sovereignty and free will, this is what they accrue. So this is a learning experience for all of us. Thank you for everybody who's watching this. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for sending me prayers, sending me your love, any energy you're able to share with me and gift me right now. Please share this information. Please make a post, make it something on Facebook, on Instagram.
Just doing everything I can to protect myself.
I'm going through Mount Shasta, California. Share the names of those officers. Share the names of the officers and their badge numbers so that they can be held accountable under the full...
Reflecting back their own fear energy to them, letting them know that they're personally being targeted as well.
That's how they're violating the Constitution.
Corpus delicti, for a crime to exist, there must be an injured party. Supreme Court's rule that without corpus delicti, there can be no
They
crime.
have been trained on the opposite of the truth. And since they're trained on the opposite of the truth, they're completely lost in the sauce. And it's really sad, because we don't have to be in fear, we don't have to be in division, we don't have to bully each other anymore. We can just remember who we are. So anybody can just put that out there, remember who you are. Look up unity theory, look up my work, look up what I'm doing. Share my video about the children and sex trafficking. Help me show the world how we can all hold ourselves accountable to each other. How's it going, brother? Another day in paradise, just walking the walk of sovereignty. The police are trying to kick me off of free land, and I'm a sovereign living man. And so I've got my passport. I've shown them that I am a national under their system, meaning they have no jurisdiction. I've asked for proof of jurisdiction. They haven't provided it.
Here comes the chief of police.
Oh, no, I'm officer. I'm not trying to cause, when you think of your name, officer? Chief Gibson. Chief Gibson. And I'm telling you, did you get my letter? Did you get my letter last year talking about jurisdiction?
He nods yes right there. That's probably what his life's like.
I'm trying to work with you.
I'm telling you, right now, no.
I'm trying to comply, officer.
Pack your stuff.
I'm trying to comply.
Pack your stuff.
Hear me out. This is what I'm gonna do.
Pack your stuff.
Everybody prepare yourselves because this will be an intense interview.
And I'm going to give this man his table and his chairs back, okay? And then I'm going to sit on the ground and I'm going to continue offering my free tarot readings.
You're trespassing this property.
And if you decide that I'm meant to go to jail, I will peacefully go. But I'm just letting you know that I'm under duress because I'm unarmed and all of you are doing this out of the threat of violence. Do you agree with that? You're doing this out of the threat of violence? So you're not going to inflict damage on me? You're not going to inflict damage on me because that's violence. That's violence.
Take my phone. I'm not fighting. You're doing this against my will. You're doing this against my will. I'm not complying. I do not consent to any of this. I do not consent to any of this. You have no authority. You have no authority. I am in the United States of the world. I'm full-blooded Isaac-Andrew full-blooded Mars, period. I am a sovereign living man. I am not complying with any of this. My shoulder! My shoulder! I do not consent to any of this.
Now you've got another charge of obstructive resisting.
There's no charge. I know. Stick on me in the court of law. I'm a sovereign living man. I have no fear in my heart. I'm here to show the world that we are all one. We are all in this. My shoulder! My right shoulder! I don't consent to this. I do not consent.
Whatever you're feeling, allow that emotion to come up. Allow yourself to feel it.
And show you you're breaking the law. You're creating an injured party. You're creating an injured party. I do not consent to unlawful acts of violence. You are using violence and transgressing against the living. Everything you're doing is against universal law, and I will prove it to you. And I know all of your names and badge numbers. You are going to prison for decades. Everything you're doing, I am not complying to what is not right.
So in these situations, especially myself being a physicist and spiritualist, I have opened my heart to such a degree that as an empath, I feel the emotions and energies of every single being in this situation. That's why I'm so passionate. That's why my anger is coming out.
A citizen is a corporation. I'm a living man. You are projecting all of your fears onto me. Look at me in the eyes. I am on your side. I am on your side. I'm trying to help you, sir. You're going to go to prison for the rest of your life. If you continue, you will.
Look how he doesn't want to face his feelings and he decides to inflict damage. He's literally holding me up by my arm alone.
Yes, I do! This is my free will! This is my free will! I'm a sovereign living man! Take the cuffs off now! Take the cuffs off now! You are breaking the law. You are creating an injured party. You are creating an injured party.
He just reached for his weapon to flip another living man.
Okay, and she's recording, you got her, that's fine, she can record. I did not do that. Okay, the only thing I want, I promise you, you're gonna help me, and I'm gonna lie, I can't do that, that's the way I'm hurting you, you know that? Looks like you know that you're trying to hurt me. No, I'm not trying to hurt you, just admitting you're trying to hurt me.
Let's try to commit slander.
No, I said, what I'm doing is going to, we got a lot of conversations. You turn against you, because you turn against yourself. I'm a reflection of you, I'm a reflection of your inner child. And I know that you went through a lot of pain.
It's true.
Just go with
When
it.
people are bullied,
Why don't you just go with it?
they become bullies.
Don't need to do this. It's my consent. You are going to stand for what I do not consent.
So what this video very clearly shows is that not at one point do I ever consent physically, orally, in any way. Even when he asked me to roll over, I will not do anything that he asked me to do.
I do not consent to anything you're doing. All of this against my
I think the cops are the bad boys in this situation. If you actually look at the lyrics for that song, it's pretty on point for police corruption. So that was my fourth successful attempt. I mean, I was literally out within hours. And just so you're aware, the pain, when you're doing something for the all, for the collective, the pain is momentary. In fact, when I'm feeling it and I'm screaming, the real me is almost like watching what's happening. And it is painful, it hurts, but the second that it's done, since I'm doing it for the all, it's immediately transformed.
Immediately following my unlawful kidnapping by Chief of Police Robert Gibson and his lackeys, I was taken to the Siskiyou County Jail in Whitefield, California. As soon as I arrived, the lieutenant in charge explained the situation to me. Since I was not under their jurisdiction, they were going to put me in a cell and immediately file the paperwork to release me. And within hours, I was in my soul family's car driving back to the same park that I was kidnapped from. And I enjoyed the rest of the night with the people of the community in ecstatic dance. Now, if I was being fully responsible, I would have made a video that night to show that I got out the same day.
I didn't think about
But instead, I
that.
had pasted pictures. So these are the pictures that I took.
So on your phone saying 10:53, July 27th, so that night I for sure got out.
Is being able to get away without being charged with anything. And this marks 4 out of 4 successes for me in my journey into sovereignty. So they say that hindsight is 20/20. And after this whole situation, it's become clear what I need to do to hold these people accountable for the crimes that they've committed. And considering that they have committed literal war crimes and acts of domestic terrorism, I am considering that the Chief of Police, Robert Gibson himself, will need to go to prison for what he's done. There needs to be someone that is put up as an example for the others so that this can continue no longer. And as he is made into an example, the other officers, everybody else that's involved in the situation, they are receiving an ultimatum. This ultimatum is rather simple. Either you create a public apology video with me that goes on the internet, and you uphold the law legally, giving sovereign living men and women the freedom to do as they please as long as they're not infringing upon other people's rights, or you go to prison for the rest of your life for the war crimes and domestic terrorism.
Domestic terrorism involves acts dangerous to human life, including kidnapping to affect the
They had no
conduct of the
idea
government.
that they were out of integrity. But when it comes to Robert Gibson, he knew exactly what he was doing. If you look at the public policy manual of the Mount Shasta Police Department, which is signed by Robert Gibson himself, you will see that every action he made in that situation went against what he claimed he would do for the people of this community. All right, everybody. This is Isaac Mars, and I'm about to serve the police officers of the Mount Shasta Police Department notice to let them know that they are going to be served some quantum syntax lawsuits with the authority of the United States of the world. Very soon. A copy of my life claim sitting stamped indicating that legitimate. Here is the notice that they're being served about the crimes they committed, which are limited to not only perjury and assault, but also to war crimes, considering I am not a member of the nation that they are a member of. Here is a picture.
Also, the United States flag we've been using ever since all of us have been born as a wartime flag.
With X's on it. And this envelope is going to the bottom of this pizza. So this pizza right here says, "You are forgiven." It says, "I forgive you all. This is my apologies since you missed your lunch yesterday." And right here it says that you have been served pizza, served legal paperwork, and be taken Hello. Greetings, officer. So, this is a pizza because I knew that you missed lunch yesterday. I just What's that? Okay, well, this pizza is bought paid for. It's donated by the Sparkies across the street. And, okay, well, just so you're aware, you're being served right now. Okay, so here's that for you. Here's all the paperwork you're going to need, and be prepared because you might have to lawyer up very soon for all the lawsuits that are going to be filed. So, thank you. You've been served. Take care.
All right, thank you. That's the full video. So, as you can see, I served them paperwork letting them know my intentions. On that paperwork specifically, I wrote it in normal English, babble. But what I did is I protected myself by putting a box around all the information. Because under maritime law, anything inside a box does not exist on a document. Also, anything in brackets, anything in parentheses, anything in italics or cursive does not exist on the document. So what do you think that means if everybody is signing contracts with signatures in cursive? There is no contract. You're just doing things because you think you're supposed to do it. They're telling our conscious mind one thing and saying a completely different thing to our subconscious mind. So how are we doing on time? Anybody got the time for me? Oh, perfect. Of course it is. All right. So we got about 20 minutes, right? Cool. So before I get right into the questions, just a few quick things to share. This video is going to be huge. It's going to completely blow up for pretty obvious reasons. And the interesting thing about this is that since that is the role it's going to play, then Unity theory, my work with Unity Holodynamics, is finally going to go mainstream. Aside from that, there's also a television network channel that wants me potentially to be one of their talk show hosts, and they reach 60 million viewers annually. So this work is going to go mainstream. And I'm not one to shy from speaking the truth. And when I say this, it does not come from ego, it comes from simple logic. They've been waiting for the alleged next Einstein since the days of Albert. And that is the role that I'm here to play. And that's why those scientists won't touch my work with a 10-foot pole. That's why, other people that are in the similar field won't respond to me. I've given my work to Bruce Lipton, to Greg Braden. I've talked with Adam Apollo, who I hope will open up more to me soon. He seems to be the most receptive. And then, I've even reached out to a few others, like Robert Edward Grant. Nassim Harriman's work is very close to mine, and yet none of them are reaching out to me. None of them are responding. And in my experience, that usually means because they don't want to acknowledge my work, because then that means they're their work is somehow invalidated in their story.
Yeah, correct.
But it's not about that to me. Like, it's about just helping each other. In my book, I explicitly know if there's any scientist, any mind that can prove that I'm wrong, do it. I invite it. Because I know that I can be humble enough to alter the theory so that it's better for everybody. But the most important thing here is that when unity theory goes mainstream, that is when things are going to get really, really wild. Because we're living in a timeline right now where most of the people on this planet, 99.9%, believe that reality happens to us. What do you think is going to happen to the collective consciousness, the very consciousness that creates the vibration to align us to this specific timeline? What do you think is going to happen when suddenly millions of people across the planet are learning that it can be no other way, that science and spirituality are two sides of the same coin? That red pill, scientific permission slip to fully awaken from the matrix, will open and unlock their DNA, open their mind, their consciousness to superhumanity, to invulnerability, to unbelievable things that we thought were only possible in movies. But what the science is showing us is that all of these movies, all the stories, they're all just as real as this experience. Because the only way we can have free will, the experience of linear time, and for all of time to happen at once, is if there are infinite realities. And if there are infinite realities, elves, demons, angels, lightsabers, all of these things are real. Unicorns. And we can interact with those things. We can unlock those things in our experience, but it takes the collective, or it takes a very, very small number to hit critical mass and specifically have extremely refined consciousness, ascended master level. So the easier option between those two, in my opinion, would just be share it with as much people as possible. And this information will do its job. So my intention right now, with my good friend Keegan here, is as soon as this video goes live, we have it out to the world, we have the protection. People are aware of what we're going through, what we're doing. The second that happens, we are going to barrage, and I mean barrage these beings with, I would say, probably dozens of lawsuits, because the lawsuits themselves do not need to be long. In quantum syntax, the only mathematical language on the planet, which is the nation language of the United States of the world, a UN-recognized nation that was put into place by the founder, David Wynn Miller, who totally laid the foundation for New Earth for all of us. This is how we create heaven on earth. It's with the authority of this nation. And interestingly enough, when they asked him, well, Dave, how are you going to claim a nation? There's no land to claim. And he was clever enough to use the universal laws against them. He said, I claim the courtroom floor of every courthouse and every court document that uses our nation's language in quantum syntax, which means the jurisdiction of someone within the United States of the world is any courtroom, as long as you put a stamp, a $1 stamp on your body, your vessel, and you autograph your quantum syntax name with that specific grammar through it, boom, that's quantum syntax. It is on your vessel. That is a maritime legal document vessel to bring into the court system. So the second that I walk into a courthouse, the judge is going to run out of the room because it's not his courthouse. It's mine. And I don't even need to go into the courthouses. Furthermore, the court is the paperwork. The courthouse is theater. It's a big act. But it is a reflection of the paperwork. Why? Because when you walk into a courthouse, the jury's in a jury box. What's the box rule, guys? That means the jury doesn't exist. Well, has anybody played on a basketball court where one side of the court was higher than the other side? That doesn't make sense. That's not a geometric level playing field. That's not fair. So right off the gate, they're telling us that they're not being fair, that they are tricking us. And since we are not saying certain things, we are allowing it. And we are becoming a victim because basically we just didn't know. So these lawsuits are going to work. I mean, the tarot cards don't lie, as we see. And every time I go to read the cards about the situation, what happens if I file the lawsuits? It's nothing but nothing but nothing but nothing but abundance. And in my experience, after going through all this, the karma that I have shifted, that I've cleaned, transformed, purified, is so intense that it's like everything is perfectly where it needs to be, and I'm where I need to be at all times, always. To such an extent that when I got back into town one day when I was still in Shasta, I went to pull onto Lake Street, main road where the police station's on, and there were a few cars around me, and I was like, no, I feel like I'm not supposed to turn yet. I'm just gonna wait a second and let this car go. And the car that goes past me, it's Chief Gibson. And then I start to pull out, and then I notice the exact timing. There's another cop car pulling out behind him in front of me. And I did not want that behind me. And so I've been seeing that level of fluidity and flow within my life to such a high degree, it's like there's nothing that can go wrong from this point forward. So without further ado, does anybody have any questions regarding the situation? And I want to be serious. You can be as open, as off the wall as possible, because I'm pretty sure I can help answer it. Go ahead.
Okay, because we're talking about the theory of quantum entanglement, everything to do. Because we're talking about the theory of quantum entanglement and everything to do with the unified field, these cops, I feel they exist in a lower dimensional plane. Okay, and whatever is working through their consciousness, reptilian or otherwise, is working through that. So, a suggestion to you and to everybody, when you get yourself in a situation where you see cops around you, or if you have to go to the judge or the courtroom, put yourself out of that dimension. Say, disconnect me from the dimension of cops, lawyers, and judges, and watch, those cops will disappear from behind you.
Yes. Thank you, I appreciate that. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. We all have the power to shift our timelines. Even though I have deep understanding of how reality works, one of my dear shamanic brothers is a very interesting being. And as I go to describe certain things to him, he'll be like, no, I don't need all of that. I can literally do whatever I want. I'm like, okay, all right. And he's right. That's the funny thing. It's like he's showing me I can get out of the mind a little bit more. And we all have that power to shift our timeline, shift the holograms, the interactions. But specifically, when it comes to the police, clearly they're trained on the opposite of the truth. And in my experience, I want to be clear that nobody has to go through what I am choosing to go through. Nobody has to, growl like a lion against these police officers and then get abused in front of a bunch of people. What I recommend is that if you are ready to reclaim your sovereignty, and truly I cannot logically see any sort of scientific reason as to why we shouldn't do that. In fact, every reason that anybody brings up as to why they don't want to do a live life claim out of fear, those manifestations can only happen if you don't have the live life claim. So there are no negatives. It's all about giving us power of attorney over our all caps name, so we are no longer considered a ward of the court or the ward of the state. Under legal definition, a ward is a individual that is an incapacitated adult that cannot think for themselves, so they're giving their literal thinking of power away to the government contractually. And so what that means is, if I make, a theory of everything that can totally change everything for the world, and then end up in a prison cell, or a jail cell, I should say, they can poison me if I give them the authority to think for me, which happened. That really happened to me. And once they realized that the poison wouldn't work, they realized that there's really nothing they can do to stop me. And from that point forward, when I finally reclaimed my sovereignty, now they can't do it anymore. They can't have some sniper set up to assassinate me. They can't do these things. They literally don't have the authority. They don't have the agreement. But for those of us that are still in the matrix, I mean, we're fair game. And I'm not saying this to freak anybody out. I'm saying this to make it as clear as possible. Yes, in the back. Let me get the mic to you, please.
Hello. The main thing that I really like about this too, or I like a lot of it, but you mentioned the age of Aquarius. We are a unified field of the universe, and the universe is aligned with the age of Aquarius. So anybody that doesn't flow with that characteristics of Aquarius are swimming upstream, and they're going to have so many more problems than those of us that move from love, compassion, intuition of the age of Aquarius.
Well said, Doctor. Thank you.
I just wanted to share, I was having dinner with Keegan and Isaac the other night, and with all of this, I'm like, well, why do we need sovereignty? Like, why do I need to have a contract, and why do I need all that stuff? I feel sovereign. You know, like quantum and like in the laws of whatever universal. Okay, I'm not going to stop talking about this stuff, but you know what I mean. I'm like, I feel sovereign. Why do I need the physical stuff? And then it just like in talking with them, it hit me that I was like, oh my gosh, some of the karmic work that I've done in this lifetime is breaking contracts of the past. Think about every single lifetime that we've had contracts with people of power that we were not consenting to. And I've done that work of deciding to release those contracts. Now this, how powerful is it for all of those past lifetimes, or for all of the other things that you're connected to in the physical be able to change that? To say, I do not consent to this contract that I'm currently contracted to, that I did not consent to, and what happens as like a ripple effect for every other experience of every other life where you couldn't do that. That's powerful as well. So I just need to say that.
Another thing to note, piggybacking on Michaela's comment, is that when we finally, you know what, just lost it. All good. There's an energy of relieving the Arianic force from us right now. That's why we're getting a little bit confused.
Yeah, it's totally flowing. It's like trying to just combine everything. That's all felt.
No, it's a moment of extreme clarity. The remembering that all of us are so sacred, and so I want to appreciate speaking just quickly. I'll try to be concise. I struggle with words. We are all, beautiful fractals of God that have, in knowing itself, chosen to take all the paths that we have. And why it is important and profound, the work that you're doing, and that we follow the path is necessary, because we are physical, and we have, to the degree, chosen these contracts to play in this realm, and whether we find the strength within ourselves to take the steps that Isaac is, to the degree that he is, or to witness it and to transmute it in your own body. I just want to first honor you because I felt every clearing of karma in that moment that you just held for everybody, and in my body. We're all finding our way back home. And so this is necessary. We're all playing a role, and some need to do this work, because anyone that remembers that light that is within, and we are all being called back home, and somebody needs to have the courage to do that you did, for every particle to make its way back. It is every particle that we're calling home. So thank you for stepping forward. I wonder if I could do that. I'm not sure that I can, but then I realize the particles that I'm able to witness and call back home. We're doing this together and gathering each other, but we're Creator wanted to know itself into its depths, and now that's why we have to walk this sovereignty path, walk that path that we have chosen to descend into and to explore. You have to correct it and so thank you. I just felt.
Thank you. Thank you, Catherine. And real quick, to remember what I was going to say in regard to Michaela's comment, is that when we have this contract with the Success the KV Act, it's making millions to trillions of dollars for these parasitic corporations behind our backs. Where do you think all that energy is coming from? If you didn't exist, they wouldn't be able to do that, which means it's coming straight from your life force, your abundance. They're dipping into your wallets with their hands, taking all your money, and we're pretending, en masse in mainstream society, everything's fine, everything's good. But no, you're right, Catherine, we need to be willing to be courageous enough to stand up to these people, because that's the only way it'll stop. And as you can see, I got right back out and I went and danced my butt off that night. They did not arrest me, they kidnapped me. And they did that to affect the conduct of the government and people and their conduct with the government, which is under legal definition, that is domestic terrorism.
I just want to make the comment that from the second that our birth certificate is recorded, they bond and insure us. And that's how they make money off of us, because they figure out how much we're worth throughout our lifespan. So they're selling us on the stock market and bonding us, and they've made, I think I heard 46% on their investments, and I don't know anybody here who gets to make that much money if they put something into a bank. So we've all been hoodwinked, and it is so important for us to claim our status once again, because it's the only way it's going to free us from their control. But what Isaac did mention too is our flag is a war flag, and this is what everybody should be flying. This is the peace flag. That's the peace flag. And you know what, I've flown this outside my house for the last 2 years, and nobody's asked me what this is about, what it is. So you could buy it online. Just look it up. It's on. You could buy it on Amazon.
I have the same issue. We hung ours, and nobody knows what it is.
The peace flag.
They've not even asked the question. What is it?
But the Ukraine flag is flying across.
Right. And support Ukraine. And support Ukraine.
Right.
Yeah.
Ukraine, but put a Trump flag up on it.
So, and apparently we've been at war for hundreds of years. So so the warrant is a war grant. That's what they serve you.
Oh, wow.
So we have to get out of this war mentality, and you got to claim your status again. I don't know who created it. I think it's the Coast Guard. Coast Guard.
So before we have to end this beautiful experience, I wanted to share a few quick things in regard to the science, because I didn't get to get into that as much as I wanted during this talk, but I have plenty of videos online as well. So the main thing is the reason why I choose to go into these situations, and this is the path that I've taken spiritually, is because the science makes it very clear that if basically courage, which is the next step up from anything fearful vibrationally, since courage and anything above courage in terms of our emotions is high vibration, in the infinite timelines, as long as I continue to choose courage and above, I will become successful. I will become victorious. I will be safe, at least to the point where my life is not in danger. And that means that we can all take that awareness. We can all be comfortable, secure, stable in that knowing, especially if we don't, growl right directly at them, but we handle things on the back end. You know, we say, well, you're threatening me with violence, I'll take the ticket to protect my vessel, my body. And then you take the ticket, and then you just use quantum syntax autograph on it. Say, no contract, send it back in the mail.
Under duress.
Yeah, under duress. And there's plenty of ways we can protect ourselves, but the one thing that I want to be clear about too is there are 1.5 million ways to do sovereignty. And this is the live life claim process with the unity states of the world. It is one piece of paperwork that takes 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how long you take. And boom, right there. The second you fill it out, you have holodynamically informed the entire universe that you have fulfilled the Cesta Caveat. You don't have to take that form and go post it all over the world and send it to the White House. You can do that. You can. But all that I did is I sent a copy of it and a letter to the county coroner in Yavapai, in the Verde Valley of Arizona. And I let them know that I'm a living man, and he sent it back, and he said, well, we apologize, we don't keep records on living or undeceased people. So he said in his system, in the matrix, he clarified and qualified me as a living man. And so that is something that I do recommend that you do. However, I personally believe that we don't have to do anything, because based on the physics, the entire universe knows. And so that psychic contract is boom, fulfilled, revoked, removed, whatever you want to call it. And your life is determined by vibration at that point. I mean, it always has been, but now you can walk forward with this awareness, not worrying, oh, they have a contract, they can mess with me, they can force me to do taxes, or whatever comes up in the consciousness. You can just let go. It's a letting go. We don't need to learn all this crazy stuff about how to be a perfect being. It's just remembering that we're already perfect and letting go of all the extra mental steps that we've, subjected ourselves to enslave our own mind. So I feel complete, but I just want to say for the ending note that everything that I do, it's for the children of this world. It's for the young men and the women that have been trafficked. It's for all of us that are stuck in this mental slavery, stuck in literal slavery. The only difference between a 9 to 5 and the slavery of the 1800s is wages. I mean, we still treat each other pretty poorly across the planet. In making this video, I was attacked by a man because I sat on the bench he was sitting at after he refused to leave while I was recording. And so, okay, I'll be patient. I went and sat down right next to him and opened up my phone, and next thing I know, he's throwing me on the ground and kicking me in the face. So we don't need to go into these rabbit holes, into this darkness. We can step out of it knowing that everything's perfect. It's just the mind that gets convinced that things are going wrong, and that's where the fear exists. So if anybody wants to learn more about my work, please check out my website, thecrimsoneagle.com, THE, Crimson Eagle, and connect with me. Let's stay connected through Instagram, Facebook, Telegram, and the more that we come together, the more that we unify, the more that we walk hand in hand in heart and unity consciousness, sharing the science of unity holodynamics, the faster, the closer we get to liberating this world. So thank you so much. I love all of you.